There's two main underlying concepts of Dark Souls. One is the satisfaction that you get from overcoming the difficulties and the challenges of the game. We feel that the higher the difficulty, when you overcome, the higher the sense of satisfaction. So that sense of fist clenching, I guess, is one of the main concepts that we want to really pursue in Dark Souls 2 as well as we did in Dark Souls 1. Second is sort of the loose connections that you have with other players on the online space within the world. It's not a direct relationship, but you can sense the feeling that other players are suffering the same challenges, and you can sense that other players are overcoming the obstacles in the game. So those two main concepts are things that we wanted to really focus on for Dark Souls 2. On top of that, as sort of going into the next phase within Dark Souls 2, to really express a sense of satisfaction and to really bring out the challenges in the game, we wanted to add more variations, more variety in the types of deaths that the players can really face. Wanted to add a little bit more variety so that the players can really dive deep into the Dark Souls world and really feel the core essence of what we want to communicate using the difficulty and the satisfaction of overcoming. So there's a couple ways that we approach this. Obviously, one is we make sure that the concept of the certain area or the certain situation is clear for the development team. What do we want the player to experience? What do we want the player to actually do? Is this an area that we want the player to really suffer in, or is this an area that we want the player to sort of smoothly try and get through? Those different concepts, we have to be sure so that we balance the game enough so that it's not always just difficult or always just easy, or we put a lot of variations and make sure to keep true to the concept of each individual area. Second part is it's pretty obvious, but we repeatedly play the game and repeatedly make sure that certain hints, I guess, or clues for the players are clear enough for the players to anticipate or figure out for themselves how to overcome the challenges. Or we make sure that there's enough in the environments or in the surroundings so that the players can realize what they're trying to do. Second is we make sure that the players are able to play through the game while realizing, but also give them enough time to be able to react to certain things that occur in the game. So obviously having the concept clear cut, but also repeatedly playing enough so that we find the perfect balance is something that we really concentrate on internally. So there's actually a lot of things that we're trying to newly implement. And we can't reveal everything so that we don't do very many giveaways. But I think one of the things that the players will notice as a difference from Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 2 is sort of the freedom of exploration. In Dark Souls 1, everything was seamless, and we tried to have the player a certain amount of freedom to be able to freely roam and explore. But there were certain points where you had to do one thing in order to get to the next area, which was not necessarily bad, but it's something that we wanted to improve so that players really feel they have the choice of being able to go certain places, or they can travel to certain areas of the game by their own choice and not be sort of forced by the game in terms of how they proceed. So that's one of the things I always keep in mind, and I always try to make sure that the freedom of exploration is something that is enhanced in the game.